Good day, great day. This is For Another Day podcast, and I am Rick Zaff, and looking at a riding mower that just stopped. Trying something new and different today. Just thought I'd talk to you while I'm working on trying to fix this. I felt so good that I had gotten the John Deere riding mower actually fixed. I had redone the carburetor and got it running, and all of a sudden it died, you know. But it's kind of like life, Sometimes when it comes down to it, um, life just, you try and you try and you try, and it still doesn't come together. And so for you and me here on this podcast, I really am wanting to talk to you now in this season 3, doing something a little bit differently, but doing it in terms of just us together on a journey, us together being able to talk, and that's why you can always leave a message for me, and I would be glad to comment on things, but um, really just get that opportunity there to share some of my experiences, share some of my joys, my sufferings. So at times you might hear me outside, at times you might hear me going for a walk, times you might hear road noise in the background, or I might be actually in the studio recording in my office. It's just one of those opportunities to be able to share. And why not do that while I am trying to figure out what size wrench to go ahead and use on this fuel pump. So I'm here trying to replace a fuel pump and a fuel filter, and trying to see if that will make a difference in how this is running. It ran for about, I don't know, half an hour, and then it just stopped. So this is one of those where mechanically I get frustrated, aggravated, because this is not my wheelhouse. Seemingly, whenever it comes to having owned a chainsaw or anything with like a gas engine, I've always had difficulties. And maybe that's something for you too, that when you have your expertise, there's also things that you aren't very good at, or you aren't willing to try to tackle. And that's where here it comes in with, I would say, fortitude and patience. Patience to keep trying, for patience to try something different, patience to, really truly see if your skills maybe need to be one-upped on line learning about the how an engine works and the such. But here it's kind of like with life. It's like, how well do we just give up? And I'm saying how well because seemingly whenever I've talked to people, they're at a point of desperation. They're at a point of not knowing what to do. They're at a point of inaction instead of action. And so that's where here it's like, okay, I'm just going to take the opportunity though to try to work on this. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't wanted to work on this all week. Even though I haven't had an opportunity to, except for 2 days, I'm like, I'd rather not work on this. I'd rather do anything other than this. And maybe that comes from a little bit of fear and a trepidation because I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if changing out a fuel pump and a fuel filter and the gas is going to make a difference. Or if we're going to be sitting here and I might have to go take it to an expert, right? And sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes we aren't skilled, knowledgeable. Look at that. The new one fits. I just took off the fuel pump and made sure that the new one, because it's one of the many crazy extra brands that are out there, not the original Kohler John Deere, but it's one of those where you don't always know if it's going to work, and sometimes you got to just call in the professionals. Sometimes you got to ask for a difference of opinion. Sometimes you got to look to see, it's like, that was totally the wrong part, or I know I need to go ahead and try something different here. So with life, I would encourage you to do the same. I would encourage you to get outside of your wheelhouse once in a while and actually push yourself. Actually try something differently. And honestly, you might need a coach to do that. You might need someone willing to cheer you on, because you might not have anyone around you that is willing to get out their pom-poms and truly cheer you on, to encourage you to try something different, and for it to make a difference. And so here, the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and troubleshoot and really look at what needs some work here in my life, what needs some work here on this riding mower. Because sometimes it's an easy fix. Sometimes it's just like, hey, it's regular maintenance. It's an oil change. It's greasing the bearings. It's changing the air filter. That's easy stuff, right? And the things that we should be doing. But honestly, in our relationships, in our life, we don't do that enough. We wait until it's broken. We wait until the relationship is sometimes damaged, even though that check engine light has been on for a while, to see kind of like, oh, well, maybe now I should go ahead and look for some help. Maybe that's stubbornness. Maybe that's just an unwillingness to try something. But once again, it's like, who do you have on your side here to encourage you? And that's where I would say, in this grand scheme of things, I would hope that you would not just have a person, you would have persons that are willing to help you, willing to keep you. This fuel filter here is really stuck on here. There it goes. Okay. And really keep you honest and truthful to who you are. So, that's where today, like I said, I'm gonna start trying something new, trying something different when it comes to the podcast, not just sitting down with the everydayness of life, but truly trying to give you some insight, some direction, not just tips or techniques or tricks or anything like that, but really some direction here, some guidance as best as we can over a podcast. I love one-on-one coaching. I love the ability to really sit down with a person and step by step, helping them look at what some of their goals might be, and what those steps are to get to those goals. But here, once again, it can seem daunting, and it can really get at you because you're like, I've tried change and it didn't work. I've tried making a difference and it still hasn't worked. So what am I doing wrong? And that's typically where we start looking at it with the coaching. It's not necessarily what you did wrong, but it's where we can actually do right, and where we can actually make a difference and give you the dreams that you are truly looking for. So just like my hope with this today, fixing this lawnmower, it will be running. My hope is also too for us that we can get you healthy enough that it is running and not just sitting and not truly being a productive person, because you've got the potential, you've got the abilities, you've got some of the skills, and so here let's just hone those skills. Let's take this to a different level and really see kind of where we can make a difference. So right now I am mounting the fuel pump on this lawnmower and realizing that I think I just used a 5/16 where it should have been a metric. It fits, but not quite all the way right. Which that can happen in life too, right? It's one of those where you're like, I thought I was doing the right thing here, and it turned out to be something way different. But that's where I've helped people before realize that very interesting. The wonderful cheapness of this part, as I was tightening it on, just broke. And it's like, okay, do we get something of value, or is it something that is just so cheap? Just looking at this, the threads threaded on, but they have put an insert in there, and it just came right out and cracked. So, but this is typical. This is typical for life and for what happens, that we try something and it might not work. That's part of it too. You try something different, and it doesn't, and then so you've got to tweak it and you've got to change it. So it's like, okay, so now is this going to require me to go ahead and have to buy a whole new one? Is this going to have to make it so that I can use this, but with a little bit of maybe some super glue to keep the bolt on? Or, once again, try something different. Okay. Well, with that being said, I'm going to pause the podcast. I need two hands here and to be able to think a little bit on what to do next. Okay, so, doing this raw here for the podcast, it's going to be something different, because before it was quite polished. It was even reading through psychological journals, giving advice. But here I'm trying to take it just a little bit different and trying to incorporate faith into this, because unfortunately, faith is often just getting a bad rap. It's getting that the more and more people I talk to, Christianity, or what it means to be called a Christian, is almost being marginalized. And so here, for us to be able to share, because for many people, faith is important. It's an important aspect, especially to who they were growing up. And I really, truly encourage people to explore faith and explore their roots, and also explore kind of who they want to become and who they want to become for others, whether in a relationship or in a family. Um, so, here once again, it's that willingness to share, and willingness to share in mistakes, and that's why I'm here with the riding mower and still trying to fix it, and trying to slowly drain the tank. I've tried flushing the tank before and pumping it out, and so this way it's like, okay, let's see what we can do again. You put fresh gas in it, you put new fuel filter, you put a fuel pump on it, you put a new air filter, you put a new carburetor on it, and you've tried new spark plugs, and you put into it quite a bit of an investment. I mean, when you buy one of these too, it's quite a bit of an investment. And when you look at a relationship, it's quite a bit of an investment, not just of money, but time. But the thing is you do get something from relationships. Here with the mower, I mean, I don't have to, with my wife, weed whack the property by hand anymore. Yes, we have property, and we used to weed whack it because we didn't have uh, a riding mower. Um, it was a 3-day undertaking. Um, but, here with this investment that we made, we wanted to speed it up. So within just a couple hours, we can have everything done, which used to take us 3 days. So with that investment of money, with that investment of time, with that investment of trying to have something that looks and you feel good about, the same holds true for relationships here. And maybe you look at your relationship and you seriously question where it is at. You don't know what it's going to take to change it, to change the communication styles, to change the focus, and the focus on each other and the focus on God. Maybe it's going to take a little bit more work here than what you thought. And when something like that plays into a factor, that's when it is time for marriage counseling, for couples counseling. Been there, done that. I started all this as a marriage and family therapist over 20 years ago, trying to really help people, specializing in helping families and helping couples, helping those interactional units with each other. And that's led me all the way here today to be able to focus on Christian relationship coaching. Really truly coaching with a difference, coaching with a God focus, um, knowing just exactly what Jesus Christ did for us, but also for our relationships, and how we can make a difference with that. You know, Truly, we do have an advantage over other couples if we focus our relationship on Jesus Christ. Um, for many, that vow isn't just a lawful vow that is something, by the state. Instead, it is a commitment, a promise, contract, as you will, with three people, with both the husband and the wife and with God. And he's willing to put in if you're willing to put in. He he can do circles around us. Okay, he has an amazing ability to do circles around it. I mean, if he can create the galaxies and the ant, he can surely go ahead and help and rectify a situation in a relationship. But that means relying on him. That means changing our perspective, which oftentimes we just get too focused on us, on the me. This has become a me generation. And it's like, what am I going to get out of it? What am I going to say that I need in this relationship? Instead of focusing on the us and the other person, it has all become about me. And so here it's like, okay, this me, I changing to we, us, we really are looking at a change of perspective and a change of action. And that change of action can be daunting. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It can be daunting because you could give 110% into the relationship, and if it's not mutual, if it's not bi-directional, it's not going to come back to you, and you're going to be putting in where the other person doesn't. Um, and so that's where it really takes, you know, one of those, what do they say, come to Jesus moments. It's like, okay, between the two of us, what are we really looking at when it comes to this relationship? What are we needing for it to fulfill us, to stimulate us, to excite us? And it's not about that infatuation that you felt when you first met. You know, that it becomes it becomes truly going for the marathon. I, it's just not a sprint. And if you're looking at a relationship as a marriage, as a sprint, you're going to be sadly mistaken after 3 years, 7 years, 5 years, whatever it is, that you're going to realize we've changed. We've grown, or maybe we've grown apart, but we've grown. We are very different than who we were when we first met. We don't have a spark and an excitement anymore, but instead we have who's going to the grocery store, who's picking up the children, what's going to happen for tomorrow. Did you happen to call your family? What's going on in terms of your medical needs? What and don't even mention work, you know, which can absorb our 40, 60, 90 hours a week of our lives. And so here it's really like, okay, what does that direction end up to be that would be the healthiest? What would change that direction? And the biggest, easiest, the one that I would just go back to is Christ. It is focusing on the one who came into humanity. Remember, he's divine, came into being human to be able to give us a prospect of eternal life in heaven. Yeah, I know. Sounds kind of preachy at this point, doesn't it? But you know, right now, if you're struggling, if you're not knowing kind of what to do in terms of communication with your spouse, it's an easy one to go ahead and turn towards now. To go ahead and make a difference in your life. You know, and it's not going to be all easy, all good, all flower fields and, you know, skipping through flower fields and daisies and the whole bit. It's going to be one where it's going to be struggles. But the thing is when you struggle, do you struggle together, or do you just try to do it on your own? Do you struggle in your sacrifices and your sins alone, or do you do it together? So many times in our vices, we don't want to share with the other person. We don't want to share and show our humanity, our mistakes, our imperfections. But yet, we do it, and we do it often, because none of us are perfect. All of us are going to make mistakes, especially in a relationship. But that's where I would encourage you to really, truly put Christ first. Put Christ first in this struggle. Put Christ first in what you do. I've often encouraged couples. It's like, take a daily devotion and make the most of it with your spouse. All too often we hear about, the advantages of journaling and meditation, but it doesn't usually say anything about interaction with others, which we're built as a relational being. We're built in a way that is distinctly different and unique. And it's just not having God time to journal, but I would encourage you, if you have a spouse, partner for life here that we're talking about, that you do these things together to nourish and nurture the relationship, that you truly look at what it's going to take and you put that investment into it. Because just like had invested into this lawn tractor so many years ago, it's that investment that's there that can pay off and give you something that is far greater than what you can just do alone by yourself. If I had to by hand cut the grass instead of having this lawnmower, um, it would definitely change my perspective and change how I age, for sure. Um, so here, I really want to encourage you, take the time now to invest. Um, I might even put a link. I don't have any affiliate links, and I don't do that. Um, but if I give you some suggestions on here or in the show notes, just know that it's a heartfelt way to say, here, try something different. Um, Here, make a difference and go with it. So there's a couple's devotional um, that is there in the show notes. Click on it, buy it, do it. Not you might not even do it every day, at least once a week, and when you're going to come back through it in year 2, year 3, keep going just day by day. Um, and so look to see kind of what a difference that can make in y'all's life as a couple, in y'all's life as best friends, in y'all's life that truly, truly needs some help right now. So click on the link, pick up that devotional. It's one of the best ones that I've found to date after all these years. I like it because it's Christian based. It's very easy, very focused. There's a prayer, there's a scripture in it, there's just a good reflection, a couple good questions to ask each other. Um, just that time alone in terms of intimacy can do so very much for y'all as a couple, and willing to share and willing to commit time to each other, produces a lot. It produces a lot to be able to say, I love you. I care about you. I want to learn more. I want to do more. And all that with just not you, but Christ and you. So I encourage you to go ahead and look at that. Now let me go back here to the lawnmower and see how we're doing on draining the tank and replacing the fuel pump.